Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever playthrough of Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of mad at myself for taking so long to play this game. I've wanted to play it for so long, and now that the second game is out, I was like, okay, it's finally time to stop procrastinating and play this. So, without further ado, let's commit tax evasion. I began with a pretty threatening letter telling me that I committed tax evasion, but naturally I ripped that up straight away, something that I will be doing with all of the letters that I receive in this game. Mayor Onion himself was waiting outside my house and gave me an earful before letting me know that I am now his personal assistant until I can pay my taxes. My first task was to head over to the bustling barn and grab some fertiliser, otherwise he would literally kill me, which I thought was a bit much, but anyways, off I went. I'm not gonna lie, it did take me a little while to get my bearings as I was enjoying exploring the world and all the characters around me. I mean, look at these little guys. Anyways, once I familiarised myself with my surroundings a bit more, I found a weapon which would come in handy, got creeped out by a creepy looking clown, killed a snail who wasn't paying his rent before finally heading over to the bustling barn. Before heading inside, I chatted to a pepper who wanted a famous person to endorse their food, which did confuse me at first, but don't worry, we'll come back to this. I also ripped up a working man's, or vegetables, I guess, working documents because why not? It's definitely not unethical at all. Once I was inside the bustling barn, I was greeted by Slay Queen 32, who, first of all, wow, what a name, and second of all, wouldn't let me go any further without a tier 3 sub, which gave me an idea. So I returned to the Pepper with news from Slay Queen 32 and they freaked out, giving me a tier 3 sub free of charge so that he could get some fame for his company. I returned to Slay Queen 32 with my tier 3 sub and she let me inside and she gave me her autograph, which was very nice of her. Some might call it a slay, if you will. Okay, no, that was terrible. Anyways, once I was inside the barn, I learned how to activate boom blooms, which are essentially explosives that activate once you water them, so that would come in handy since I assumed there would be a boss somewhere inside this barn. I have to admit, I did get a little bit lost, and I nearly died to a worm, but I found some boom boots, which were used to kick the boom blooms in a certain direction, which I know would help me out a bunch. After ripping up Mayor Onion's book on how to do your taxes, I was able to test out these new boom boots, which worked very well, by the way, and unlocked some new areas for me to explore. I found a key and I was unsure what I was supposed to use it on until I found a locked door near the entrance of the barn, and thank God it opened, which meant I could explore the next area. After solving a small puzzle, I encountered a very angry pig, but luckily he was pretty easy to kill, and after solving another puzzle, I encountered our first boss. I managed to defeat him on my first try, which was great, and got me thinking that surely future bosses can't be that difficult? Oh, how I was wrong, and my future struggles were entirely my fault. I spent a little while running around this little yellow icon that the king pig had dropped and was confused about what it was as I was unable to pick it up. Eventually, I gave up, which was a stupid mistake and something that I continued to do after defeating future bosses. This would come back to bite me in the arse, since they were in fact extra hearts that I needed in order to boost my health, since of course the bosses naturally were going to get harder to defeat. Honestly, I don't even know how I didn't realise that this was a heart that would boost my health, so I apologise in advance for how long it actually takes me to realise this. Anyways, I retrieved the fertiliser from my onion, and on my way out, Slay Queen 32 crowned me for defeating King Pig and allowing her to stream again in peace. Today was the day that I became Slay King 32, and I expect you all to call me this name going forward, and I will expect nothing less. Thank you. Anyways, I returned to Mayor Onion with his fertiliser, and he immediately gave me another task to get him a fork, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't trust or like this guy from the get-go, but the things he's asking me to get for him are a little bit suspicious, I'm not gonna lie, and he's not being very subtle about it either. I picked up another hat before heading to my next location, the Forsaken Farmhouse. On my travels, I met Ellie, who liked to dance on Flip Flop with her friend, and Hayley, who had accidentally knocked her friend's phone off the cliff whilst dancing, which is pretty unfortunate, so I made a mental note to try and find her friend's phone whilst I explored. I then ran into a carrot who mentioned taking care of a weird baby thing by chucking it in the trash, which made me think, oh my god, that must be the baby that the babysitter had lost earlier in the game. So I headed to the trash can, and lo and behold, there it was in all its tiny glory. Another carrot mentioned that the stairs to the farmhouse were broken and a stool might do the trick, so I was hoping that in exchange for the babysitter would give me her stool that she was using. Before I headed back to the babysitter, I met this guy. Oh, okay. And then made my way back to the forest the babysitter was in. On my way back, I watered a flower for a blueberry who wanted me to give it to the strawberry. So I did just that and got absolutely destroyed by this strawberry. Dude, that is so rude. I suppose if a tax evader's try to flirt with you, you're probably not going to get involved with that. And was then forced to tear up the love letter she had wrote to them, which I have to admit I felt pretty bad about. That was sad. I am heartless. That was really mean of me. As a reward, I got a cute hat from the blueberry and then continued into the forest to find the babysitter. She did in fact give me a stool as a reward, which was very convenient, and it now meant that I could access the farmhouse that Mayor Onion wanted me to go to. Once I was inside, I was given some information about human life in the game, which had pretty much been unknown to me until now, so that was pretty cool. What wasn't cool though was the candy that tried to attack me. It caught me completely off guard, but at the end of it I got a face mask after defeating them all. In the next room I was immediately attacked and almost killed by whatever this thing is before solving a puzzle and getting into the farmhouse's icebox. I had to complete several quests from the mission board in order to progress through the farmhouse, so I started with a very flirty Nurse Berry who needed 3 medical supplies, one of which I already had. On my journey, I ran into the most literal bean I've ever come across and the Pickled Gang who wanted my help to get them to escape. I made a mental note before retrieving the bandage and then the medicine for Nurse Berry. Next, I helped Carly find her sister, and on the way I ripped up an extremely important letter, which I probably shouldn't have ripped up, but oh well. I found Carly's sister and she gave me a key to a new room where I once again ripped up an extremely important letter, which I definitely shouldn't have ripped up, but anyways. I finally found the game's next boss, who I was stupidly taking on with 2 hearts. Not surprisingly, I died. But my second attempt was much more successful and I managed to take down the rotten cat relatively easy, even though he did kind of rock me at points. I once again ignored my extra yellow heart, found some spray paint and turned on the generator. I was rewarded with the fork, and unfortunately I had to give it to Mayor Onion, and unsurprisingly he wasn't very grateful and sent me out on yet another mission to go get some goop from the Forgotten Forest, which doesn't sound suspicious at all. On the way there, I found Holly's phone, which I'm not going to lie, I had completely forgotten about, so I quickly returned that to her before continuing on through the Forgotten Forest. As I journeyed on, I learnt that I could water portals through fences, which took me embarrassingly long to work out because for some reason I forgot that you need 2 portals to travel from A to B, like as if I kept running into one portal and getting confused as to why it wasn't working. Anyways, I spoke to Annie in the research facility who sent me back to the dreaded portals, and this time I finally figured it out. Like wow, well done me for finally working out something really easy. Lots of portals later, and I found the mural doodle that Annie was looking for, so I ran back to her to give it to her, and in return she gave me a key. After getting through more puzzles and obstacles, I found an old turnip farm, which was kind of dark, I'm not gonna lie, like oh my god, look at this, how morbid is this, oh my god. Anyways, I then got jump scared by this absolutely huge deer that would not leave me alone. I was hoping I could just run straight to the next door, but unfortunately that didn't work and I died. And I died again before the bastard finally ran away and I found a portable petal portal. Wow, say that 5 times. Before getting stuck on a puzzle and having to look it up, which bored my little turnip boy to sleep. But once I'd finally figured it out, Annie gave me a key to travel west, which led to the 3rd boss, which had clearly ingested way too much of this hazardous green goop. I'm not gonna lie, this boss was a huge step up in difficulty and I died a fair few times, which was pretty annoying, but once I defeated the stag, I once again ignored my extra heart. Oh my god, I can't believe I still haven't clocked onto what it was. And picked up some green goop, which now meant that I was glowing this suspicious and probably dangerous green orb. But anyways, next on Mayor Onion's not confirmed but also definitely confirmed list of destruction was a laser pointer. But in order to access the location of this laser pointer, I had to do some grave digging with this friendly looking guy. I dug up a lot of graves and ripped up another depressing letter which reminded me of my shameful behaviour, before getting extremely confused by this group of pumpkins, and after going the wrong way every single time, I finally figured out the right path to take and dug up the golden shovel that Tots wanted. In return, he gave me his old shovel which dealt more damage and I could now use to get into the hatch containing the laser pointer. This area under the hatch turned out to be a bomb bunker, which was pretty morbid, but at this point I wasn't even surprised, to be honest. I just knew that things were going to get darker, and lo and behold, I was right. After dying plenty of times to radioactive creatures and fire, and tearing up numerous disturbing letters, I found a hazmat suit, which, oh my god, was so helpful because I've lost count of how many times I've died from fire so far in this bunker, so thank god for that. But anyways, I kept making my way through the bunker, which did take a while because the puzzles had gotten way more difficult. But once I'd finally made my way through, I encountered my biggest challenge yet and my new personal enemy. Okay, we can do this, we can do this. When I say that I got absolutely bodied by this girl, oh my god, I died so many times. Dude! And I was starting to get pretty frustrated, so I had a look on YouTube to see what people's techniques were. And here is where I finally realised that I had significantly less hearts than the people I was watching on YouTube. So, off camera, I went back to where I had killed previous bosses and picked up the hearts, boosting my health a little bit more. And this time, I managed to defeat Liz first time. So what they usually are. Oh my god. Oh my god, I did it. I then picked up the laser pointer and returned to Mayor Onion, who, by no surprise at all, immediately let his facade down. I spoke to Old Man Lemon, who revealed that my father was a member of the Mafia and ran in the same Mafia family as Mayor Onion and Old Man Lemon himself. Like, I knew Mayor Onion was no good, but this whole Mafia thing kind of came out of nowhere to me. To absolutely no one's surprise, Mayor Onion has a huge god complex and wants nothing more than complete control over the town, so I must stop him before it's too late. That's when I remembered that I never actually freed the Pickle gang from the icebox like I was meant to, so I took a quick detour to free them and got myself a fedora so I could feel like a true Mafia man following in my father's footsteps. Now that I was dressed for the occasion, I made my way through the mysterious Mafia base and learnt some new information about Mayor Onion's plans and some history about my Mafia father, as well as ripping up a letter addressed to me like the heartless, tax-evading turnip that I am. It was finally time to take down Mayor Onion, and it wasn't easy. I died quite a few times because this guy was basically a combination of all of the previous bosses and Homelander, which was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie, but after several attempts, I finally defeated Mayor Onion and his tyranny came to an end. Thank you so much for watching me play this amazingly chaotic game. I'm super mad at myself for taking so long to play this because it was so fun and I really enjoyed it. I will definitely be playing Turnip Boy Robs a Bank at some point, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I'll see you all again soon.